Okay, so one of my favorite things I used to do both for shoulders and bench press would be I would do a chest fly. I would get my 10, 12 reps, and then I would go into a chest press machine and 4 reps. It's very heavy, but only for 4 reps. Okay, that works big time. That works to stimulate the chest big time. And you're not doing a second set. You're only getting like 4 reps. And I don't take a lot of time between the pec deck and the bench press. Yeah, you add weight. It's a heavy weight. Obviously, it's not going to be super heavy because you've already kind of pre-exhausted your chest through the pec deck. But that strategy works. I'll do side laterals, for example, and then right afterwards, I'll get the dumbbells and some heavy dumbbells and pump out 4 or 5 reps.
With regards to the back, have you experimented with the pull over to the pull down, or is it more so lack of equipment that makes that possible for you? Like, would you do that?
Right. If I had a pullover machine, it would be ideal because that is a superior exercise. I've tried doing various things with bands, with weights. I find that anytime you do a pullover with the bands or whatever version, dumbbells behind your head, I find there's a strain on your elbows. And that's the limiting factor. If I could set something up properly, I would. But yeah, I like the pre-exhaust for back for sure.
So if you had a pullover machine, you'd be using that hands down for sure.
100%.
Yeah. Someone listening to this, you got to ask yourself, is this an exercise that I can do when I'm 50, 60, 70? I know things are, okay, you're young now, but is that going to break you down over time, or is it going to help you over time? I think that's an important thing, like the dumbbell pullover. I can't tell you how many stories I've heard about that with the elbow or the shoulder bothering someone. It's heaviest in the most vulnerable / extreme position, the dumbbell, right? And then you got no resistance when it's over top of you, halfway through the range, you lose everything. So is it really?
And you're also dragging a dumbbell over your face.
And which is not safe. What if it drops, right? So those are important things. So yeah, that's something that you might want to ask yourself, like, is this exercise going to lead to some form of longevity? Like, is it sustainable over time? I think that's an important thing to ask yourself. Even if it's a technical thing, like how you're executing it, right? I don't know if you've experienced that, where the way you're executing this, well, yeah, maybe you get away with it for a few workouts and then you find yourself breaking down. Don't go visit that again.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Like the super upright dip thing, or the bench dips where your shoulders are way back, where it's nothing like a push-up, like in the parallel bar dips. 2 different exercises. That's just my personal experience, but also there's a level of logic and even experimentation that needs to play a role here, I think.
Yeah, big time.
Do you do anything specific to psych yourself up for these high intensity workouts?
Yeah, of course.
Break it down. Like, what do you do to prepare?
I look at my previous day's numbers and I get anxiety. It's like, I need to beat this number. I must beat this number because I pushed it to the max. Like today I'm doing the exercise, like, am I even going to beat that number? So there's a little bit of anxiety going in. It's a positive adrenaline because it actually motivates me. It's like, okay, shoot, I got this anxiety. I have to beat that number. My sole focus is there's a specific intent. I need to beat it. That's the motivation. Because really, do I really want to go to the gym right now? Not really. I'd rather go to the pool. I'd rather do some fun stuff. But I am training. I am training in about an hour and a half. I need to beat that number. That's motivation enough. I need to solidify the fact that, this is working for me. Number 2, this is my edge in training. So there's a means to an end. I know that if I can pull somebody harder, I've got an advantage on the mat. That's the motivation. I'm better than some other guys physically, strength-wise, because of this work. That's motivation. There's a means to an end. So you, the listener, you've got to say, okay, what am I doing this for? Am I a martial artist? No. Am I just doing it for looks? Okay, great. Your motivation is do whatever's necessary to get your dream body. And usually that falls in the way of food as well. But that's your motivation. No matter what, I've made a commitment. I'm going to the gym, whether I feel like it or not.
I love that.
Kenny, you're a disciplined guy. Sometimes you don't want to train, but you're going to train if it's your day. You're going to put that in.
Absolutely. You know what's funny about that? Like, I love to train. I get anxiety with certain exercises. And like you mentioned, where it's like, man, I did that whole stack pretty much on the leg extension. And I felt like I was going to barf last time and I'm going to do that today. What if I didn't do that leg work and I did a different one? That's what you start wanting to play in your mind. You're like, no, that's not productive. Get on the leg extension. You haven't done it in 10 days because I have a cycle, right? So now it's the 10 days is coming up. It's time to do the leg extension or it's going to go even longer, right? So you know what I find is once you're there, you're happy, man. It's just getting out the door, and that's the anxiety. Looking at the log and then getting out the door. That's where the anxiety is. Once you're there, though, I find it's just like it's like a switch. You're warming up and you're ready for that set. There's no holding back. I'm psychotic in that way. way. It's just,
oh yeah.
and I know you can relate, of course. It's fun. There's going to be anxiety, and anxiety is not necessarily a bad thing in this regard, I think.
No, not at all. No, I agree. You turn it into a positive. That's all it is. You're going to get some adrenaline going, and you're going to get that flight or fight response. It's time to fight. It's time to do your thing. That's it. Right. I think we're very similar that way. I think a lot of, in listening to the podcast, there's more similarity, a lot more similarities than differences. I've listened to some of them like, okay, I don't necessarily agree, but he's still my brother in iron. I've learned a lot from the podcast, and we're doing a lot of the things right. So, kudos to you for putting this together, man. When I was competing and did really well, it was a Monday, Wednesday, Friday. It was exactly that. It was push, it was pull, it was legs. So it was once a week. And I don't subscribe to that now. I don't. But who's to say it worked for me back then? Who's to say it won't work for somebody right now? I'm not going to shut it down because I'm being closed-minded. Right now, I'm doing a very